Well, welcome. We're here.
We're doing it.
We're really doing it. So the JennieFinch podcast, the YouTube channel is here, and we're going to kick things off today by asking you some questions from your fans. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm the worst with these kind of things too. I'm the worst.
No, you're not. You're
yes,
so good.
Like on the cusp, I'm not good.
I actually watched one of your live Instagram things where you were talking to a little girl maybe from New Jersey or somewhere. I can't remember where she was from, but you're so personal with them. So this is it. So you put in some questions. Is that where they got these questions from?
They submitted them on Instagram.
Ooh, submit them on Instagram, the IG. All right. So we're going to ask Jennie these questions that you guys submitted, and you're going to hear from her. We can elaborate too. So we're going to do 27 questions because you, as the fans, know that her number was 27. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Why did you pick 27? Let me start off with my own question.
So my parents started dating on the 27th, their freshman year of high school.
What?
And so I totally jacked it from them and stole it. And it was kind of like their number, right? And then I was like, oh, that'd be pretty special. So I think 12 and under was my first year of 27, and ever since then.
That is so good. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know. See, did y'all know that? Question.
And it's crazy. Like, we'd go to hotels, and of course it was like 327. Or, I mean, always just, my dad always called it God winks, like little God winks. And even to say, like, even I'll look at the date or, even just the time of certain things. It's like crazy, just crazy.
So, cool. Yeah, you were 27 from 12 and up.
Yep.
First question is going to be from Aaron. Aaron, are you ready? What are your top 3 items in your fridge?
Oh, my gosh. For my kids, ketchup. They love some ketchup.
All right.
Oh, we love some unsweet tea.
Unsweet tea?
I've converted. I mean, this is like.
How do you live in the South?
Like, God is able. Like, Casey would. I mean, Dr. Pepper and sweet tea. I mean, that's like they drink
right.
Dr. Pepper as coffee here in the morning. Like, you don't brew coffee, you just pop open a Dr. Pepper. Like, that's how he was raised. And literally, like, oh, whatever, sugar. Oh, I was raised on sugar. I'm fine. And literally, it was crazy. Right before Dancing with the Stars, or right after Dancing with the Stars, kind of during it, he just got this little bug, I guess, to like stop. And he went to unsweet tea. And he dropped 25 pounds. And his knees would always hurt him by like 3 o'clock every day. And boom, here we are into like health and everything else.
Wow.
But like unsweet no knee tea. Issues, nothing. Like his whole world has been changed upside down.
Wow. That's incredible. All right. So we got unsweet tea. We got ketchup.
Yeah,
I know right now you're
I would say
cucumbers.
Cucumbers in our family are like the go-to.
You grow cucumbers, correct?
We do, yeah.
Yes.
Our garden is just like starting, so it's exciting.
Well, I remember when Casey stopped drinking Dr. Pepper because we were playing football back here. We were coaching, and I looked at him and was like, are you okay?
I know. Everybody, are you sick? Like,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But so good job. All right, so number 2. This is from Jennie, your namesake. What's your favorite pitch?
Strike 3. Always. Doesn't matter what it is.
Strike 3. Doesn't matter.
No, never.
What was the first pitch you learned other than just like throwing it to the plate?
So fastball, and then it's kind of easy to go to a drop ball from there because you want to get over the top spin. And so I went to a peel drop ball, and then change up was the next pitch.
All right, there we go. All right, Kelly asked, advice on how to keep a good attitude and staying positive.
Oof. I just feel like life is short. And so like, why even go there? Right. And it's a battle for sure. And that's why I would say the hardest thing that I've had to overcome is dealing with that negative voice in my head. And it's like, no matter where you are, what platform, how much success you have, it's always going to be there. And almost like the more success you have, the louder that negative voice gets. And you have to realize like, no. Right. So just priorities in order, find the good. And there's always good in everything. That's
right. My favorite quote about attitude, your attitude determines your altitude. So as your attitude's good, your life will be good. You'll soar up.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, question 4 out of 27. Ava asked, what are some of your favorite pitching drills? Go to JennieFinch.com.
I know. It's crazy, though. Like, I was just talking to some of my teammates, and everybody wants drills these days. Like, we didn't do we did filling drills and, like, warm-up and progression, I would say, but really, like, we got out and played. And I think, too, just as a generation changes, we have to be more creative. We have to make it fun. their, kids' attention span isn't what it used to be. And so you always want to keep them moving and be creative and bring that in and keep them loving the game. But ultimately, like, it wasn't really drills. Like, if I was trying to fix something, then I would, work on it. But ultimately, it was just get on the mound and pitch and try to figure out the feelings, what works, what doesn't work, how do we get the most spin and the most speed on my pitches.
So get out there and play. That's what you got to do. Get on the diamond and play.
I would say long toss is, a great tool for
Under
strengthening.
or over?
Both.
Okay.
Building arm strength, endurance. But I always say, like, we got to incorporate the fast twitch muscles. So I feel like if you go out and just go long and slow constantly, it's like, no, that's not going to get what, where you want to go and what you need. Like, you need to definitely do long toss, but then come back and do 20 quick throws or, make sure those fast twitch muscles are firing.
That's good. That's good. All right. McKenna asked, what age did you start pitching?
So 8 years old. Started at 5. I was bigger than everybody. And so everyone, big people obviously like, oh, you'd be a good pitcher. And so get on the line and throw. And I could kind of throw strikes and I could throw hard. So they're like, you're in. Right.
All right. So Andrea, what was a day in your life like training with the Olympic team? This is a good one. I feel like this could be a 30 for 30 one day. So what was your day in your life like training with the Olympic team?
A dream, like surrounded by the world's best. And these are not only amazing and the best softball players in the world, but just incredible women. And so to be surrounded by that level of excellence every single day is a dream. And the coaching staff, and everybody we had around us, like coach worked so hard to give us everything we needed. I mean, we were working on our vision, nutrition, strength and conditioning, everything you could name it. Like we were working on it, any way that we could perfect our game. So it was a dream. We would usually be on the field, I would say, like fielding in the morning, 2 hours, and we'd come back, go eat lunch, come back, and then do offense in the afternoon. And then it would be some weight room stuff or conditioning stuff. And
5 days a week, 7 days a week?
So when we were together, it was pretty much 7 days a week, unless we were together for like, say, 18 days or something. And then we started incorporating like R&R, we'd call it rest and recovery, because our bodies need that for sure. And not only our bodies, but our minds and
so before the Olympics, what month do y'all start doing that regiment training?
So the Olympic team is usually picked a year out. And then about 9 months in, that's when you start. Like we were together probably 25 days out of every month.
Oh, wow.
So we were hitting it hard.
Yeah, that's incredible. So now you know what it takes. All right, number 7, Lily. Will you write another book? I loved your first one.
Oh, nice setup, Lily. I'm picking out pictures right now for my second book. So it's done and it will be out next spring.
Do we have a title yet?
We don't have a title yet.
No. Submit your title request.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. 8, Sean asked this. What is something most people don't know about being a pro athlete?
Oh, just the grind, I think. Like, yes, it's incredible. It's a dream job. But the grind of it's tough. The travel, I think about even Casey, my husband, going through the minor leagues. Like a lot of times they're getting up at 3 a.m. and they just played the night before until, got back from the field 11 midnight by the time you eat and do treatment and all of that. Right. And then they're getting up at 3 to travel and then they play that same night. So it was like constant. And I think too, even once I became a mother, it was like, oh my gosh, I have Ace in tow and, we're getting up at 3 a.m. and we got a game that night. Yeah, but it's a dream for sure to be able to do that. And pro softball, we didn't have a locker room. We had outhouses most of the time. Like we would have to change literally. Like we had a trailer one time as that locker room. And can I tell you how pumped up we were just to have this like little trailer with 5 lockers in it, because we didn't have to change like in the dugout or in the public bathroom, which we had to do a lot. So I would say, depending on which pro sport you play, but anything and I think just growing up watching Major League Baseball, and then for me to be like, man, I play pro softball. Like, am I making a pro salary? No. Am I playing in front of, 50,000 people? No, but I'm still playing a sport
You're still
for a
getting to
living,
play.
and that's a dream.
Yeah, I was wondering about that with pro softball, what it was like, because, you know, one of my favorite movies is A League of Their Own.
Yes.
And how they didn't get the same treatment as the, you know, riding those long buses. And, you know, of course, that movie was fantastic. So I was always wondering about that, because you dream of being a pro athlete and you have people waiting at your hotel for autographs and pictures and paparazzi. Was it like that with pro softball?
Yeah, normally they're like, they wouldn't expect us to be at these hotels, I don't think. Like in the big leagues, they have, you know, like the Ritz or, you know, like the nice hotels that they know, like that's the team hotel. Well, us, it was like, no, you know, we were excited to get like, I don't know.
Keep the light on for you.
Totally.
I got you.
But in that way, like still like just, I would be amazed. Like sometimes they were at our hotel and just be like, wow, like you want my autograph? Like you're going out of your way for this. And it was just so many pinch myself moments, because it was like, this is what I dreamed of, you know, even putting on a jersey, you know, post college, and to be able to have at bats and to pitch and have a team like after that, it was like, this is a dream.
That's so good. All right. So it's going to be 27 plus questions.
Okay.
So
We're going
Sean has another question, and we're going to throw this one in because I thought it was such a good one. What are some tips? What are some of your tips on staying motivated?
You know, for me, my dad always said, be the best that you can be. And I feel like there's just a sense of urgency. There's a sense of responsibility in that. And it's like, okay, God gave me this talent. I got to use it and be the best that I can at it. And, you know, I think the devil wants us to be complacent and be okay with not pursuing and pushing and using our gifts and talents, you know, for his glory, and to have that platform. And so, and I feel like too, just being a female athlete, there was that much more like, man, like people didn't have this opportunity. Like we're doing things that, you know, women dreamt of doing. But I think just, you know, you have a plan and you have a purpose over your life. And I think just standing firm on that, like there's a reason for today. And I think if you just, every interaction, if you just like go at it with that mentality of like, God has a plan, God has a purpose, like God can use anything. And so just walking on that truth and in that truth.
Can we get an amen? That was good. All right. Number 9, Taylor, how did you deal with the stress of softball?
Ooh, you know, I think too, just going back to the heart of gratitude, like, and perspective. It's a game. I remember the Olympic team was just picked. We were in San Diego, so we trained at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, San Diego, right next to the border almost. You could see the border from where we were. That's how south we were. But talk about a dream again. Here you are training with other Olympic athletes, and you know you have an amazing chef cooking you meals and in a cafeteria style, and you have the best training facilities you can around. And so to be able to have that place and that home was huge. And here we are, like training for gold medal, 10 to 12 hours a day. Like, this is it, you know, this is everything. And coach is like, hey, we're, you know, load up in the vans. We're heading somewhere today. And so we go and he takes us to Camp Pendleton, and we get off and we're like, what, you know, and we're in workout clothes. So we know we're doing something. So we're like, well, we got to train with Navy SEALs.
Oh, yes.
And it was like, our minds were blown, like, gold medal, what? Like, this is nothing. Like, these guys are on the front lines. Like, they're fighting and facing death every day. You know, it's a game. So I think just totally just keep it in perspective. It's a game. It's a gift. You're blessed to be able to do this.
That's amazing. Ooh, training with Navy SEALs. How'd you do?
It was intense. We had to hold boats over our head. And, like, of course, being the tall one just stinks. Like,
because you're having most of the weight.
Yes, like, wait, I'm like holding, no, you know. And we were on the back, and we were, it was burning. But it was that whole thing, like, we're so much stronger than we think. And it's totally a mind game. Like, physically, yes, I'm done. I'm spent. My body's telling me I can't, but somehow, like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so just kind of enduring that and taking it to that.
Is there any secret video footage of that we can?
I know one of my teammates, we just did a Zoom call the other day with a lot of the Olympians from 04. And one of my teammates was like, I have some pictures from that. And we're like, what? We didn't even know these pictures existed.
Oh,
so
that would be amazing.
We'll have to, get that.
That'd
but it was
so
cool.
good.
And then we had to go in the boat and swim out in the middle of the ocean. And we all had to get out and then get back in. And just, I think, too, the teamwork that it took. Like, if one was lagging, you know, you were done. And so you had, and the strong ones had to, you know, pick up the weak ones. And a lot of life lessons.
That is so good.
It was cool.
Good stuff. Tiger Woods trained with Navy SEALs too, so you're in good company there.
Nice,
There we
yeah.
go. All right, so let's jump on these next 5. We'll kind of speed boost this one. So Allie asked, "What do you like to do in your spare time?"
Family, my kids, we love it. I love being out in nature. We like to fish. We like to just be outside, have fun.
And I think your fans know that because they watch your Instagram stories.
Yeah.
You're always outside on dirt bikes and fishing and all that good stuff. Caitlin asked, what did it take to become the player you were mentally and physically?
Oh my gosh, a lot of hard work, a lot of failure, a lot of practice, a lot of perseverance, and just like that no quit mentality, And I think too, perfecting it, right? Like so often we just want to like cave in, like it's too hard. And it's like, no, like you got to find a way. And whether that means like, perfecting your craft or, like turning your weaknesses into your strengths.
That's good.
So much of that. So I think it's just constantly getting up and doing, putting the work in.
That's right. Alex Bregman said this on a video I was watching the other day with my son playing baseball, and he said that baseball is a game of failure. Mm-hmm. You're gonna strike out when you're swinging, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And you just got to have that right mentality.
Yeah. Not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah, when. Yeah. Exactly. It's like bull riding.
Yeah.
It's not if you get hurt, it's when. All right. We live in the South.
Yeah, I don't know much about bull riding. But
you haven't tried that yet?
It looks rough. It looks rough.
You haven't tried that
No.
yet? All right. Number 12, Rayleigh asked, do you work out every day? If so, what kind of workouts?
Oh, I wish I did. No, the struggle's real. It's been hard. I feel like when you work out to train, to compete, and then now it's like, what am I working out for? Like, and then I have to like psych myself up. Like I'm competing against staying healthy and being the best mom I can be, being the best person I could be. And I know I feel so much better, but the struggle's real. It's hard. It's hard,
Right. But you're starting to, I saw that you're starting to ride bikes again, starting to run again.
Yeah. So after softball, I ran the New York City Marathon, which was really, really cool. And that's another thing, like mental, like I had never run past 6 miles, like 26 miles. What? Like no way, like no chance. Like that's what a car does, or maybe on a bike, but no. And then you realize like you can do anything. You put the time in, you're committed, and you just let your body go. And I remember my Coach Kendra, who coached me at Arizona, super close, loved him, and then got the opportunity to play for him on the USA team. He coached us in 04 and 08 Olympics, and he trained for a marathon once, and his neighbor was like, he was asking his neighbor who did them all the time and ultra marathons and stuff, and he was like, you just go one light pull at a time, one light pull at a time. Like, don't look past it, one light pull at a time. And I remember texting Coach, be like, Coach, like, I'm at one sidewalk crack to one sidewalk crack. Like I'm not even to the light poles yet, but here I was so like, good. Able to finish that. And then I got into triathlons and it was kind of fun because you had a race to like look forward to. And so I'm trying to but it's so time consuming. So eventually,
yes,
I would love to do an Ironman one day.
I don't run. My wife says I need to. All right. Number 13, Ella, what are some tips to be a faster pitcher?
Arm speed. Increases ball speed. So the faster your arm goes, the faster the ball is going to go. Leg drive. That's your lower half is the power. And so we got to get our motion going fast. And then it's just like hitting too. There's so many similarities from pitching to hitting that I think are often overlooked. But you got to, push off, you get loaded, get everything behind you, push off with that back leg. And then the front leg, that's got to resist. And the more resistance you have, the more power you're going to, be able to send from your body to the ball. So it's a matter of like hitting your brake and sending that power forward.
That's good. 14, Leah asked, what was your major in college?
Communication. And I dropped out of public speaking.
Really? Oh, yes. Yeah. We talked about that before. That's right.
Yeah. I was like, the professor got up there and was like, you need to make 3 speeches in front of this class. I was like, I'm out. Like I went back to the advisor and I was like, anything. Like I will take anything but this. I'm not getting up in front of 300 kids and doing a speech. No. So face your fears earlier than later.
And now you're doing so well at public speaking. So Good job.
And I guess that's a testament to like, if you do it enough, repetition, you can do anything. Cause oh my gosh, I cried walking off the stage. I can't tell you like still to this day, it's like, man, I'm terrible. And then someone will say like, no, you did great. You're authentic, So I think just be persistent. And if you just show up and do it and,
that's right.
Show your heart and put the effort in, people are going to appreciate that.
Yep, absolutely. 16, we're going to be on 15. Kaylee asked, how many times a week did you practice on your own?
Usually it was like 2 days a week. So we had practiced 2 days a week and then on my own. And that might have been, an hour before team practice, but it was usually twice a week and then we were playing on weekends.
16, This is anonymous. What was a moment on the field you will never forget?
Oh gosh,
So many moments.
I think like my first really big stage was in Oklahoma City winning the national championship. And this was so special because we had 8 seniors, and those 8 seniors would be the first seniors to graduate from Arizona without a national championship like in 15 years or something. And so like talk about, I was a junior that year, and it was like, oh my gosh, like we have to send these girls out. Like you go to Arizona to win a national championship, you know? And so to be able to just send them out that way on top was the best.
Who'd you play against in that one?
UCLA.
UCLA.
Which made it even sweeter. Because we always, that was our rival.
You don't like the Bruins?
What?
No, I'm just joking.
Bruins? Who's the Bruins?
Who's the Bruins? 17, Addie asked, were you ever close to quitting softball? And if you were, what made you keep going?
I remember being 12 and praying one night, like, God, I just want to be normal. I don't want to be this crazy softball player with this crazy softball dad. Like, I just want to be normal and do normal things. And I'm so thankful that God didn't answer that prayer, because look what he had in store, right? So it's going to be hard. You're going to make sacrifices. And I look back and it was tough, but I think I was always surrounded by people that had the same goals, and my teammates were doing the same things that I was doing. So it was like, man, like, you know, I'm not sacrificing that much.
Right.
But in this day and age, it's hard. I mean, now kids are like raised looking and seeing what everybody else is doing. But I think like if there is a gift and you love it, like, man, pour into it. And those things that you think you're missing out on, I'm sure you can attest, like they're always going to be there. You know,
That's
like
right.
the beaches, the vacations, the birthday parties, like, you know, it's worth it if you truly want it.
I agree with that. 18, this one's going to be hard.
Oh,
So
right.
just
I'm not.
prepare yourself. What is your biggest accomplishment?
I think my kids for sure, and family, like that's just the greatest joy. I mean, isn't it just like,
Oh, I know. I agree.
it's like it's just the best. It's the best. And just seeing like these little kids with like a part of you in them, and you just love them with more than you love yourself. And it's wild.
And even like whenever your kids are playing a sport, whether it's baseball or football or whatever sport it is, and whenever they have a bad moment, a disappointing moment, but then they score or they hit it inside the park home run, and, you know, Diesel's running across that plate, or my son's running to first and beats a throw out, and just that big smile. It's just like, I would much rather coach than actually play the game right now. I'm having so much fun.
Oh, absolutely not.
Coaching my
No,
kids.
no.
I am.
It is. It's fun.
It's so much fun for me. But again, I wasn't the caliber player that probably my kid's going to be. So let's just be honest. And so I love seeing having other people accomplish big goals in their life. And so I absolutely love it. So I agree with you. Kids are it.
I feel like it's, man, I just look back and like my dad had so much patience and so much selflessness to like pour into me what he did. Like, wow. And it's like, and especially like disciplining your own kids, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it is so hard. And so, man, and he was the bad guy basically in order for me to be who I was called to be, like making me practice when I didn't want to, dragging me out, you know. And I think there's a fine line there, because I know a lot of parents that are way too intense, and I'm so thankful that he walked that fine line. But I always knew that, you know, I was so much more than the softball player, and it was so much big, even though at times I didn't think that, and I would say like, all you care about is softball, you know. But ultimately, like, man, that's why I always say parents, like, you gotta love hard, and you gotta love them off the field, so they know when you are pushing and pouring into them on the field that, you know, it's not all about that.
So that may be an episode that needs to happen.
Oh, that'd be good.
Talking to parents.
Yeah.
Because on
and
weekends,
not that I have it mastered by
on
any
weekends,
means,
we
but
see parents. We see you in the stands. And so, yes, it'd be important to talk about that. And maybe have your dad on.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good one. All right. Number 19. How do you deal with anxiety?
You know, to be honest, we never really heard of anxiety growing up.
Right.
Like, it wasn't spoken of. I would say I learned maybe how to deal with my nerves.
Yeah, so let's say nervous.
You know?
Yeah, nervous.
But I think there's truth to that, though, too. Like, I feel like the more we say the word and the more we expose our young kids to it and declare and name that, then it's like, oh, I have that. And you label them that, and they start buying into that. You know? So and granted, it's a real thing.
Right.
But I feel like, man, there's so many instances where if we could just, you know, kind of like take them the other direction, you know, away from that and not having that label. I think one pitch at a time for me. I feel like my parents were always like, just be in the present, you know. It's not winning 7 innings for me. Sometimes 1 inning was the 3 world's best hitters coming up to the plate, and it's like, holy cow, that can overwhelm you like that, you know, or the world's greatest home run hitter on deck, and here I am like, wait, no, I can't look on deck, like it's this hitter, and not so much even this hitter, it's just one pitch, and all of us can buy into this one moment right now. So it's kind of like that, okay, our next step, like where, focus on that next step, where that's going to be versus the journey that we want or the finish line.
Did you ever have the, again, if you played sports, I think you may have had this, because me competing with rodeo and being at national finals and all that, and you back into the box and you're ready to go, and all of a sudden the yawns started happening.
Yawn?
A yawn. I figured
No!
out whenever I got nervous, I kind of shortened my breath. And every time I'd be like, I would be sitting waiting for my turn, and like I'm like in the hole almost, and I would start yawning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to breathe. And so I would start breathing. And so I started looking at other.
How many of you yawn? Let us know if you yawn.
Let us know if you yawn, if you get nervous. It's not when it's not like you're on the pitcher's mound yawning. It's not like that, but it's like probably when you're like in the hole ready to bat, and you're just kind of like, oh, it was always the moment before where you're like, okay, I got to catch. I got to strike out this person. I got to do this. And so, yeah, that's
interesting. But I think breathing is huge.
Right.
Like, because, man, your heart's beating out of your chest, and the game gets fast, life gets fast, and it's like, wait a minute, slow it down.
You got to slow it down. A simple question for you. Lily asks, what's your favorite color?
I don't know if I have like a favorite color. I could say gold. Right, gold medal.
You're so nice. You don't want to hurt the other colors' feelings.
No. But I feel like every day it's like, man, that's a pretty color. Like I don't have like a one favorite color. I really liked pink, and I think it was really cool. I was the first to. Mizuno was okay with it. Like I dreamt of this like fierce pink, and before the whole pink movement, where now everything's pink, but it was like nobody ever like brought those two together, collaborated, like pink and sporting goods. You know, it was like sporting, tough, hard. But it's like, no, like you can be crazy tough and crazy good and have a pink glove. And it, you know, blew up like a wildflower. And now we see, you know, everything pink for young girls with sporting equipment. But that was a big movement and a big step forward and a big celebration too, I think, of just femininity and like strength.
Yeah, that's so good. Cassidy asked, how do you handle the mental game?
I think your confidence comes from your preparation. So it's like, man, if you put in the work, you trust your game plan, you buy into it, and you're ready because you've been there over and over. So doing it, we would go over with my catchers, like we knew what we were throwing to each and every hitter when they stepped up to the box. So you have that game plan, you bought in, you did everything you could leading up to that, and now it's like, okay, let it go. Right, that's good. Trusting. Lizzie asked this, what pushed you to work really hard at the Olympics? Oh, a dream, I think. And I didn't have a fear of failure, but I hated to fail. I didn't like to fail. I didn't like the feeling of losing. Right. And so, I'm gonna never forget watching the first 1996 Olympic team. Like, it was like, wow, like this is it. Like I have the opportunity of being an Olympian playing softball. And so that's where it was inspired. And here we are. That's so good. And plus, probably the opening ceremonies when you're around all those people, and because when Kobe Bryant died, I saw your post about how y'all surrounded him, and just going, when you're around greatness, it kind of breeds greatness, and so I don't know, I think that's amazing. So, a quick story: in 2004, we didn't get to go to opening. You didn't? No, the veterans on our team. So we had a game the next day, and the veterans voted that we wouldn't go, and I just remember being like, like, we're not even at the Olympics. We can't even go to the opening ceremonies. Like, this is why we do what we do, to experience it. And having gone in 2008, you realize, like, you're standing for 7 hours, like, preparation, leading up, staging. And then finally, like, you're the 200th team to walk in, and you got to walk a mile in because all of these, teams are staged all over. And so it was long and, hot and strenuous. So that was a good choice. So you're veterans on the listen to the veterans. Yes, which we totally, and they had been to, there was 4 of them that had been to 96 and 2000 Olympics. So they've done it. And that's really we weren't there for that. And we knew that. It was all about on the field, and then we could do whatever after. All right, so Mia asked this on question 23. What is your favorite thing about being an inspirational role model? It's such a gift to be able to pour into someone else. And so, man, if you can just be just a small light, a small voice of confidence, it's so special. I think that's the greatest gift of all of this that has come from, every stage that I've competed on and the Olympics, is just being able to show young girls that they can too be anything that they want to be.
That's good. And then Andrea asked, how do you keep the balance between faith and softball?
Good question. I think it's just like in anything, right? Like, where are your priorities? God, others, everything else. And so you just kind of, there's not, there was plenty of times where I did not maintain that balance very well, because you become consumed, and that becomes the goal. And it's a lot of hard work, and easy to kind of be distracted from that. But I think, just trying to find a good group of believers around you, and that'll hold you accountable, that will pour into you and speak life into you, and finding that time out to like, okay, I got to have my quiet time with God, and then everything else, it just trickles, that's the reason, that's the whole purpose of all of this.
Right. And remember, your faith is who you are. It's not what you do.
Absolutely.
Romans 12 talks about the act of worship is a lifestyle of worship. And so your faith is who you are. It never leaves you. Softball or any sport is just something that you do. It's not who you are. You are first a child of God. And then everything around comes out of that center. So that's the center, and everything else comes off of it. Sorry.
And I think we are the church too. And so I know a lot of softball players and athletes miss Sunday church.
Right.
And so I know my parents worked really hard at plugging me in during the week, because they knew a lot of times we weren't going to be able to make it on the weekends.
Right.
And I'm so thankful in high school I had, a group of sisters that were all believers, and we would, be so pumped to get together to worship and to learn and to be fed during the week. And then also, we are the church, so we can create it and bring it everywhere. One thing we started doing, Leah, O'Brien, and Miko, one of my mentors, teammates, we started doing Bible studies before the Sunday of our camps, and just God has used that in so many ways, and it's so cool just to see the seeds that were planted and what comes from that. We brought the church to the field, and so I would encourage you guys, like, find a little devotional or something, and be the light of Christ, because everyone's so hungry for the truth, and you can bring that and be that. And there's so many ways that you can be a light on your team, and God will use you for sure. You just you got to let Him work and be faithful and let that, like you said, who you are shine through.
That's so good. 25, Lily Beth asks us, how can you regain confidence?
Oh, that's where I think grit comes in. Man, you just work. You work.
Have you ever lost confidence in the middle of a game or after a game?
Yeah, I would say, like, man, and then just those negative voices. I mean, once you open it up to that, it's like I suck, like here I am on the Olympic team, but like I don't even have, my pitches aren't working. Yeah. I'm not capable of this. And all those lies start, filling in. And then it's like, wait a minute. Like, let's go back to square one, and I think to have open conversations, like with your catchers, with your coaches, with your teammates. And so they can kind of start like, no, like you are the best shortstop there is. Like, no, do not listen to that. Do not buy into that. Like, I've seen you make amazing plays. And I think if you make the sacrifices to go out early and to work on things, and then slowly that confidence builds back up.
Yeah, and so surround yourself with some people who are going to speak positivity in your life, but you be that person who, whenever you see a teammate that's down, you help them regain confidence by speaking that into them. Yeah. Absolutely. 26, Emma, how to be more confident in yourself?
Man, I feel like, too, I always use the analogy like studying for a test. If you prepare for a test, you study hard, you walk in pumped, right? Shoulders back, you're confident. Teacher, give me this test because I'm ready for it. But if you don't, then it's like all those, second guessing yourself and those things you wish you would have and could have done. But I think, too, just like maybe just having a journal of who you are, what you've done. And like you said, it's not about what you do. It's who you are. And no matter, if you are struggling, like, okay, God has a purpose in this, and I'm going to trust that. Like, somehow God's going to use this tough moment. And I look back and I realize, like, some of my worst losses, my toughest seasons, like, God was working in me and in others. Like, there's always someone watching that, and you become the best cheerleader. You can be like, hey, yeah, I'm sucking up. And then talk about respect for a teammate. Like, if you're struggling, but yet you're cheering us on like this, like, man, like, I love you. Like, you're legit. You're solid, It isn't about you. It's about the team. And we have to realize that. And So just kind of, I think, finding what you can do, and focusing on that. And I think too, just having like a journal of truth. Go to the Word, and what does Jesus say about you, And ultimately, it's like He doesn't want you to be the greatest softball player ever, He may, but ultimately, it's so much bigger than that, and He could really care less about wins or losses.
All right, so here it is, question 27. I'm going to change it up on you because I just looked down at some other ones. So question 27.
From Brady.
No, actually,
this is okay.
Come on,
I thought you made one up. Okay.
No. So this is from Natalie. Who was your biggest inspiration growing up?
I would say my parents. My mom was just.
Of course, if you said 27's your number, it's got to be your parents.
And my brothers. Like, I loved having 2 older brothers. One's 10 years older, one's 5 years older. So I always wanted to be like them. And then my parents just pouring into me, I feel like. And then as I got older, it was like Lisa Fernandez. She not only pitched, she played third base and was an amazing hitter. And I always wanted to be that complete player. But then you find, those players that reached out to me that made a difference to me too. And it's like, man, like when someone you never know like what one comment can do for somebody or and how it can, a couple words can change someone's whole perspective. And my dad was just like, man, always on me to be the best that I can be. And seeing him, they both worked full time, but yet always making sacrifices for me. And my mom was just kind of always that just like constant, steady rock, like always there for a hug. She would listen and not speak to me, where my dad he was the one that kind of rode me and pushed me. But I think it was such a perfect balance of the two.
That's so good. So we did it. That was 27 questions. There is more to come because you submitted a whole lot of questions. And so this is just part 1
yeah,
of the 27
so thanks for
questions.
the content, everybody.
Yeah, without you, this couldn't have been done. So we hope that this gave you an insight to Jennie's life and to more, and how life is more than just softball. And I think that's what you are showing people right now, is that you're not just a softball player. And I would love to get into the Dancing with the Stars stuff and who you are now and the inspiration and the motivation and all that. So more to come on this podcast. So last words for this episode?
Go out there and be great. Be great. There's always greatness within you, and the world can't define greatness, but there's that greatness within you, and don't settle for good. Be great.
That's right. See you next time.